say we're born again to create this world we live in. So now let's claim our good and speak our word and release it to the universe.
It's a new day.
Right here is where we take a stand.
It's a new day.
Compassion for our fellow man. Right
It's a
now
new day.
we're making a difference. Oh, it's a new day.
It's a new day.
All together hand in hand.
It's a new
Sing our love across the land. Right here we're making a difference. Oh, it's a new day. Every day I'm filled with wonder by the glory of the silent thunder unfolding from down under. Satchidananda.
It's a new day.
Right here is where we take a stand.
It's a new day.
Compassion for our fellow man. Right
It's a new
now
day.
we're making a difference. Oh, it's a new day.
It's a new day.
All together hand in hand.
It's a new
Sing our love across the land. Right here we're making a difference.
In this place of silent prayer, all my thoughts are perfectly clear. It's up to me what music I hear, and I can choose what I feel. Yes, I can choose what I feel.
I'm gonna let the joy wash over me.
I'm gonna let the joy wash over me. I'm gonna let the joy wash my worry away. I'm gonna let the joy wash over me. I'm gonna celebrate this precious day. I'm gonna let the love flow out of me. I'm gonna let the love wash my worry away. I'm gonna let the love flow out of me. I'm gonna celebrate this precious day. I'm gonna let the things come through me that need to come through. I'm gonna let the laughter fall out of me. I'm gonna let the laughter wash my worry away. I'm gonna let the laughter fall out of me. I'm gonna celebrate this precious day. I'm gonna let the joy wash over me. I'm gonna let the joy wash my worry away. I'm gonna let the joy wash over me. I'm gonna celebrate this precious day. I'm gonna celebrate this precious day. This precious day. I'm gonna celebrate.
Good morning and welcome to the Greater Philadelphia Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Dr. Maxine Kay, and I am delighted to be the spiritual leader of this amazing community. Even though we're not together personally, we are so together heart to heart. Wherever you may be on your spiritual path, wherever you may be in the world, you're so welcome here with us. This is an hour of uplift. It's an hour of sanity. It is a transformation station. And what we are transforming here is our consciousness, so that we can keep our attention on our clear intention to bring this world into a higher vibration, to co-create a world that works for everyone. And don't you think we need that right now? I'm so grateful that out of what's going on in Ukraine, around the world, that some good is already showing up. That one person or one group of people who may be criminally active are, in a sense, bringing the world together. There's something beautiful emerging from here. You know, just here in Philadelphia, we have a bunch of chefs who've gone over to Poland to feed the refugees. People are showing up. People are coming together, heart to heart, mind to mind, and what can I do to make a difference? So that's what we do here, is to keep our attention focused on the possibilities, to see the harmony that's underneath the chaos, and to invite it to come forth. So you're in your right place. We're together doing the work that we have been called to do. And we are about awakening humanity to its spiritual magnificence. So join us every Sunday, often. Watch our love notes. Come to classes. Be with us every way that you can. And right now, thank you for being with us this morning. And we have a powerful statement that we use. And I would invite you to say it with me. Will you now? Living, loving, learning, spirituality that works. And we are working it. And now I would like to introduce your opening song called It's Your Day, and it's by Susan Arbuckle.
Well, come on, let's celebrate. All your friends have come from near and far. Let's all play and dance and sing this song. We've come to celebrate the wonder that you are, 'cause it's your day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's your day. Here you stand thinking how trials when you thought you couldn't cry another tear. Now you raise your hands in the air and thank God that you're here, 'cause it's your day. Come on, let's celebrate. All your friends have come from near and far. Let's all play and dance and sing this song. We've come to celebrate the wonder that you are, 'cause it's your day. It's your day. It's your day. Counting blessings and taking stock of all you've done before. Checking it off your list now, what else is in store? Surrounded by all this love, you can't help but feel the vibe. So raise your glass in the air and let's say it one more time, 'cause it's your day. Well, come on, let's celebrate. All your friends
It is your day and it's time to celebrate. Do you know what this is, kids? Oh, I'm speaking to the kids right now. Come on, if you didn't get gathered around, put that pancake down for a minute, okay? Hi. Do you know what today is? It's the vernal equinox. It is the very first day of spring. Spring is springing. And you and I are in a place where we can say thank you to winter, and you can leave now, okay? I know there's still around here some patches of snow on the ground because we've had storms and we've had weather, and whether or not you've loved that weather, today is a new day. It's a new season. Now, I know that all of you have done a lot of planting. I know that in Fun Day School, you would sometimes plant a seed and then take it home and watch it grow into a little plant. And I love that. In fact, somebody gave us a Christmas present that was in a little box. And when you open the box, what was there was some soil and a pot and something to plant. And so I followed the instructions. This little tiny thing. Put the soil in, put the little tiny bulb in, and now, I wish I could have brought it to show you. Now it's this tall, and it's green, long leaves, and there is something in the middle of it that hasn't come up yet, and I think it's probably a hyacinth. And a hyacinth is one of my most favorite spring flowers. So what we plant, we take care of it. We are mindful about focusing on its health and well-being. It will become something beautiful, and you can be really proud of it. I planted that and watch it grow. Well, you know what? It's the same with our thinking. It's the same with our thoughts. When we plant a healthy idea, like loving or supporting or focusing on our health and well-being, on happy things, then that's what will grow in our world. Because you see, there is this great power that God gave to all of us. It's the power of God itself, and it lives right within us. And when we use our minds in a healthy, productive kind of way, we wind up with beautiful things that grow in our lives. When we get too fearful or unhappy or not liking something or someone, we're not planting those good seeds at all. And what we get in our world is not something we want. Now, there are some things going on in the world that are pretty awful right now. We know that. We also know that underlying all of the discord, even all the war, underneath that, there is God's peace and harmony and love. And you and I, since we have these great creative minds and they're part of God's mind, you and I have the opportunity to call that love forth, to call that harmony forth, to call that peace forth, because it's permanent. The things that happen that are awful don't last. They cannot last. But God's power and divine love, infinite wisdom, they last. So let's call them forth and plant the seeds you want to plant, both in your garden and in the garden of your mind. Okay, your pancake's getting cold. You better go put some warm syrup on it. We'll talk to you next week. We love you so much. Bye for now. God, I love those kids. I wish I could see them. I miss them. All right, well, how about we have a meditation? Yeah? I think we're all ready for meditation. So let's breathe in deeply that precious life of spirit that indwells and surrounds us. And it's now as we recall that we can never be outside of the presence of God and God's love, that we realize each breath we're actually allowing Spirit to breathe us. So we breathe in that holy presence. And we exhale that holy presence so that everyone is touched and blessed and uplifted by it. Continue to breathe in this sacred life. Let it move through your body. relaxing, restoring, refreshing every cell of your body, every fiber of your being, every area within your emotions, within your thoughts. Let peace prevail. Let the love of the divine so fill you that there is no room for fear or concern, no room for reaction, simply a beautiful, sweet response to the love that is being poured over you right now. Just allow yourself to soak it up. Feel as though you are having a beautiful God bath. Let that presence of precious love hold you, nurture you, move through you, keep you in perfect serenity. And now as we take a look out through soft eyes into the world, let us behold the presence of the divine within every situation and within every person, no exceptions. And let's allow ourselves to feel the peace that we desire for every sentient being in this world. In this beautiful day of the beginning of spring, let's know that there is something within everyone and every condition that is awakening, reawakening to the truth of its own being, that God is all there is, that we cannot ever be outside of that loving, wise, and wonderful presence, and allow that awareness to move out from our consciousness into the greater consciousness of humankind all over this glorious world. For beauty is eternal, peace is infinite, and we are focusing our attention right now on that which is true, that which is beautiful, that which is eternally so. Let's come quietly into the center of our heart now and invite this precious presence to fill us as we go into the silence and bring with us into our great hearts, which are expanding enough to hold the world. Bring with us all the people of the globe into our hearts, so they may be refreshed and feel the tranquility and the possibility. Come into the sacred silence now. Yes, be ye comforted, for we are in this world, embracing all humanity, and yet not of it. For we are of spirit, and the whole world is divine. We're now calling forth that divinity, that peace, that infinite love, and the perfect divine wisdom to guide everyone into a new day of possibility, of peace, and the power of love. All is well. All is well, truly, truly, on the deepest level, all is well. Now I would like to invite our practitioner, Cheryl, to come forth and give us a beautiful opening.
Happy first day of spring, everyone. My name is Cheryl Macklin, and I'm a practitioner at the Greater Philadelphia Center for Spiritual Living. Spring is a wonderful time of new beginnings, so I wanted to share with you John O'Donoghue's blessing for new beginnings. In out-of-the-way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time, it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent. Wondered, would you always live like this? Then the delight, when your courage kindled and out you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you. I'm going to state this treatment in the first person, and I invite you to take it for yourselves. In this glorious first day of spring and this season of new beginnings, I celebrate the one and only Creator, the source of all of these beginnings. God who is love, God who is joy, infinite intelligence, peace, beauty, God who is the creator of everyone and everything. I am one, as I am a creation of God. I am one with this intelligence, one with this unconditional love, one with this joy. I'm able to use my conscious intention and this infinite intelligence to create new beginnings in my life. The first step of any new beginning for me is right here and right now in our celebration. I listen to the music, I rejoice in the talk, and I'm so grateful for all of the participants behind the scenes and in front of the camera, and everyone at home who is listening. I feel the loving energy of this community, celebrating these new beginnings and celebrating the source of these new beginnings, the source of all. And so I open with joyful expectancy to my next right and perfect step. And I open to everything that I learn and hear and share in today's celebration. With grateful acceptance, I release my word to the law, knowing that it is heard, acted upon, and done. With great gratitude, I release this to the law, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, dear Cheryl. That was a wonderful beginning. And now, would you join us in speaking our affirmation of the day? My past is not good enough for my today. I accept Spirit's guidance in the creation of this day. A day of wonder, a day of beauty, a day of being in awe of all that is. Now I have the great pleasure of introducing our wonderful speaker for today. He is known and loved by all of you, including me, and He has ministered for years in the past, almost 20 years in Kennewick, Washington. He has spoken and worked in other centers since that time. You have known and loved him right here in Paoli, Pennsylvania. And many of you are wise enough to tune in to his Saturday morning Science of Mind book study, which he began a year and a half, going on 2 years ago, taking this beautiful book written by our founder, Ernest Holmes, one page at a time, and reading it with these bright, caring, fabulous people on a Zoom call all over the country, some in Canada, and some who are on the West Coast get up early to join us for this, and it's a beautiful experience. He's a wonderful teacher. Everybody acknowledges him every single Saturday morning for this. If you're not doing this, please check with us. Look at the website. You'll find out how you can get in touch with him, and you can receive the Zoom invitations and just be there. So I don't know which century we're going to finish that book, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes we get through a page or two, and sometimes more than that. But it's deep, and it's juicy, and it's wonderful. And also, you know that Reverend Mike and I do, I used his name, you know who I'm talking about now, that we take turns every other day during the week in sending you love notes. And his always gets lots of likes and comments, because it's a wonderful opportunity to connect with you from our living room. And he loves doing these as well. And so it's just a great pleasure that I have in introducing to you for your talk today, Green and Growing. So let's give a big Paoli welcome to Reverend Mike Gerdes. Woo!
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Maxine. Wow, she's a keeper, you know that? Spring. It officially starts at 11:33 this morning. So that means that if we just do our timing right about the time we get through with today, you can go out and say, hello, spring, and really celebrate the day. You know, spring for me really is about celebrating life. It's celebrating the renewal of life. And it's rather appropriate that Dr. Cheryl Macklin gave our opening treatment today, because today is Reverend Cheryl Macklin's birthday. Happy birthday, Cheryl. And if you know her email, you know her phone number, call her up, email her, let her know that she's loved. And we celebrate having her with us. Well, the purpose of my talk today is to help us celebrate our lives and help us find greater fulfillment in our lives. You know, lives are really to be lived, and I mean to be lived with enthusiasm, God's Spirit within us to express the greater idea of life and love. It's not supposed to be just drudgery. It's to be lived fully. It's because it's not the number of years that we live. It's the amount of life in those years. Question I have for you, how much life do you have in the years you're living right now? You know, a lot of us put off living till someday I'll. You know, someday I'm going to do this, someday I'm going to do that, and then we find out sometimes too late that the train's already passed. Let's don't do that. The good news is there's always another train, and we can always hop on when we want to hop on. So we've started making plans for trips rather for the summer, later on this spring, and I know a lot of people have. And when we get through today, I'm going home and cleaning closets. Anybody else get involved in spring cleaning? I love doing that. The drawers, not so much. The storage unit, we've been waiting years to do that. But I want to talk today about 4 things that have to do with really green and growing and putting the most into celebrating our life. That's number 1 is planning. Number 2 is preparing. Number 3 is planting. And number 4 is pulling weeds. Now, I can remember back when I had a house in Kennewick and my son Kyle was just a toddler, planning on putting tomato plants, excuse me, out by the backyard fence. And we had this, overhang and put this fence there, and the tomato plants grew. And young Kyle, we didn't use insecticides or anything like that. He would go out there in his diapers, he'd grab a tomato and he'd eat it off the... Spring is special to me. It also happens to be the month that Kyle was born. But what we need to do is to plan what we're going to do, because if we don't plan ahead what we're going to do, we're just going to wind up wherever we wind up. And sometimes that's not where we want to be. Now, I'm fortunate. We are fortunate to know that God's grace gets us by in life pretty well. We don't really have to think too hard for us to go through life and do the normal things that people do. And unfortunately, too many people die at 25 and wake up getting buried when they're 85. If we plan what we want in life, if we plan what we feel Spirit has got for us to do, to express, to be, to know, to have in life, and how we might see that unfolding in our lives, we do a whole lot better. If you have any young people in your lives, I would ask them, the old adage, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, that's nice when you're little kids, but a real important time to ask this is when they're in middle school or junior high school, we used to call it, or in high school, to start planning ahead as to how life wants to show up by means of them, because that's the time they need to be planning for the type of schooling they're going to want, to be investigating the kind of careers they want. Because what we need to do besides plan what we're going to do in our lives, it's very much like planting what we're going to be doing, planting in a garden. Some of you have been fortunate enough to go out to Longwood Gardens. We love going out to Longwood Gardens. And one of the things I really appreciate going out to Longwood Gardens is you see how they've arranged it, how they've planned it so carefully, it's gorgeous. It's artistry. They just didn't throw a bunch of seeds in the ground. They knew what they were going to do. That's what we need to do in our lives too. Just like planting a garden, we plan ahead what's going to go where, how we plan it to unfold, what's going to look right. And then the second thing we do is we begin to prepare for that. Now, one of the first things that I would suggest we do when we are beginning to prepare for moving ahead with living our lives is learn to meditate and pray. Now, I know that for a lot of people that's not too popular, except for those who are maybe tuning into this program today. But without being centered in Spirit, and Spirit centered in us, a lot of the plans we make aren't plans that are going to work out. So the first thing to prepare is being centered. And then figuring out what it is, allow Spirit to figure out within us what it is that we need to do to be ready to do whatever it is we need to do. For example, when I'm planting a garden, I need to prepare the soil. I need to figure out where everything's going to go. I need to get the right seed. I need to get the right fertilizer if I'm going to be using that. I need to figure out the drainage. I need to prepare the soil. And the same thing with regards to us in any area of our lives. There's 4 major areas of life that we work on. Health. wealth or abundance, creative expression or our jobs or our careers, and the last one being relationships. Now, sometimes we don't spend much time on our relationships as we should, because the first relationship we have is with God or with Spirit. And the second relationship that's important to us is our relationship with ourselves. Because unless we have the right relationship with God, we don't have the right relationship with ourselves. And if we don't have the right relationship with ourselves, if we don't love ourselves, if we don't accept ourselves, if we're not happy with ourselves, guaranteed nobody else is going to be happy with you either. And ultimately, you're not going to be very happy with them. It's not going to work out. You may go from relationship to relationship wondering, what's the problem? There's a commonality at it, and you're looking at the problem when you look in the mirror. So, some of you are familiar with the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. You know what's the thing we can change? Us. That's what we get to change, our attitudes and our perceptions. And we can do that by simply choosing to do that. We don't have to wait to get struck by lightning, though sometimes I find that I get struck by lightning. In the area of health, you know, sometimes we get struck by lightning when a condition comes up that we didn't expect. We come down with a cold or some situation that happens. Maybe our toe hurts. Whatever it is, it catches our attention. And then what do we do about it? Well, first of all, we take care of the problem as it is. Then we might ask ourselves, okay, how do we get into this? Did I get into this because I was out of shape? Did I get into this because I wasn't getting enough rest? Did I get into this because I wasn't eating right? Did I get into this because I wasn't exercising? You know, it's tough to be honest sometimes. It's really tough to be honest sometimes, especially when we're talking about our health. I know from personal experience that if I'm doing something that's not good for me and I like it, I have a really hard time accepting that it's not okay to keep on doing it. For those of you who find yourself smoking and saying you enjoy it, I know what you're talking about. It's the same thing for those of us who are drinkers and like that and say, oh, I don't have a problem with drinking, I just enjoy it. It's called addictions, folks. And anything that we do that's not good for us, and we keep on doing it anyway, is an addiction. And we have to wake up to what isn't good for us. And sometimes it's life that's telling us, stop it. Stop it. And then hopefully we do, before it's too late. You know, the good news is that our body recreates itself, or a lot of our body recreates itself. Now, the old idea that the body produces new cells every 7 years, it's a nice idea, but it's a myth. It's not true. What is true is that our red blood cells, however, replace themselves every 4 months. Our white blood cells, about a year. Our skin cells, 2 to 3 weeks. So that's all good. And that's all beneficial, especially when you're healing a cut or something like that. But you know what we do to our brains? The stuff that hurts our brains, like alcohol, drugs. Remember that old commercial that said, here's a brain on drugs, and they take an egg and break it into a pan and go fry, fry, fry. Kids, we don't grow new brain cells. Doesn't happen. So if you destroy brain cells, you've lost them. So if you find something within you that you become aware of that you need changing, if some lifestyle, something you're doing that you shouldn't be doing, celebrate it. Celebrate that you've discovered that. Celebrate that you become aware of that. Because here's the lesson. Awareness is curative. Awareness is curative. You're halfway to resolving the issue once you recognize you have an issue. But as long as you're going, no, everything's fine with me, you're never going to find yourself realizing the life that you want to live. You're never going to be living a fulfilled life. As far as our jobs, our careers, I know I kind of stumbled into my careers. It's interesting. I didn't do a lot of pre-planning. Oftentimes I lived by grace alone. God's guided me and directed me without a whole lot of help on my end. I've gotten in my way a lot, but God stepped up there and helped me along. I remember that I was a musician for years. And that was one of those careers that was I was kind of born into, because my folks gave me music lessons all the time, ever since I was a little kid. And so I went through school learning music and doing music. And of course, then if you're going to do that, you eventually, in the 60s, you want to become a rock star, right? So I went out and tried being a rock star, and I got so hip it was hard to stay alive. So I thought maybe, after living on the road for a while, I thought maybe I didn't really want to be playing Elks Clubs when I was 55. And so I thought, okay, I'll find something else to do. And I had this idea of going off into a technical institute that was not too far from where I was working at the time in the band. But it wasn't going to start for a few months. And so for the few months from the time I left the band to when the school started, I was waiting tables. Good money waiting tables. Don't begrudge anybody who's a career server. You can make good money doing that. And what I found out was, I was nice to people, they were nice to me. And this one table came up and they asked, "Kid, how'd you like to earn big money in the two-way radio business?" Or words similar to that. And that was 45 years ago this July. And you know what? I don't know about big money, but I'm still involved somewhat in the two-way radio communications business. Now, I know a lot of you people may not know that. It's not a big deal that you do know that or you don't know about that. It doesn't get in the way of, it's not who I am. And the point about that, that job, by the way, led me to religious science, because my sales manager invited me to his center, of course we were churches back then, invited me to his church. And that was the Tri-Cities first church of religious science. Dr. Arthur Thomas. And when I first walked into there, it really felt like life had opened up for me. Because I had been going through life hungry for spiritual food. I would go to this church and to that church, and I felt like I was coming home with just a kernel of truth, a kernel of spiritual food that I had for sustenance. I was hungry for spirit. I was hungry for God. But you know what? I couldn't accept something that I had to be stupid to accept. Sorry, I don't mean to count anybody that believes particular religion stupid, but for me, I just couldn't. It had to make some sense. And listening to Dr. Arthur Thomas and listening to that center and being able to talk to them and ask any question I wanted without being shamed, I recognized I came home. It was a new beginning for me. It was a new spring for me. So every place where you're at can bring you to another place. And again, I think it's God's grace in my life. And I think God is gracing all of our lives to look for the good in any situation we're in and allow it to unfold looking for the good and being aware of the good when it shows up. I didn't have to accept my sales manager's invitation to go to the church. I chose to. And I'm so grateful. So grateful. But you know, sometimes we can find ourselves in jobs or careers and we find that we really don't find themselves feeding our souls. One of my jobs was rug cleaner at the Vance Hotel in downtown Seattle. I'm really good at cleaning rugs. I'm still a vacuumer around the house. But it's not my life's passion, I'll tell you. So if you're not happy doing what you're doing, if you don't find it fulfilling, and by the way, the difference between happiness and fulfilling, you're not finding happiness because you're not finding it fulfilling. It's not the other way around. If you find something you're doing fulfilling, you will find happiness in it. There's a lot of things that you might be involved in right now, careers, jobs that you're involved in right now, that if you but saw that this was an opportunity for you to give to a greater expression of life, to give to humanity, and that every day when you showed up, it wasn't for the man or the woman, it was for God, you may all of a sudden find that this is a fulfilling job. And you might find happiness in it. If we allow ourselves to open to Spirit, Spirit will guide us and direct us. And then with regards to relationships, I've sort of touched on that before. If you want to be a friend, if you want to have friends, rather be a friend. If you want loving relationships, have a loving relationship with Spirit, with God. God loves us anyway. And then develop a more loving relationship with yourself. Judge yourself less, and you'll find yourself judging others less. We're told to love everyone. That's an exercise. That's an exercise. It doesn't say you have to like everyone. But what we can do is recognize the Spirit, the Christ, the Buddha, the Atman within everyone is there and call for it to come forth. And recognize that anything appears to be other than that is not the truth about who they are. Along the line that we're doing these things, that we're making these we're seeing our health, our wealth, our careers, our relationships growing and springing forth. There's going to be obstacles along the way. Stuff's going to show up. Life gets lifey sometimes. And there's going to be weeds we have to pull, just like in a garden. You know, it's amazing. I had another house I had in Tri-Cities. I planted this garden, this vegetable garden. And then I got busy. Have you ever planted something and then got busy and didn't really tend to it? Well, it's interesting. When you don't tend to your garden, the garden kind of sort of tends to itself. Nature abhors a vacuum and it fills it with weeds. And what you grew actually became weeds. We need to tend to our garden. We need to pull the weeds. And I'm talking here about the weeds in our consciousness and our thoughts. When an idea comes up that we are not good enough, It's not true. It's not true. Call yourself out on that idea and declare that is not true, and declare what is true about you. That if you're good enough for God, you're good enough for anything you show up to do. Those weeds sometimes get scary. We say, how can I do this? I got this diagnosis of this. If you take a look at my bank account, I've got to go bankrupt to make it. If I look at my job, it's like I got to start all over again. I got fired, whatever it is. If I go looking at my relationships, I'm going through my 5th marriage. This is not working out real well. There may be issues you've got. Well, the good news is that principle is not bound by precedent. In other words, whatever's gone on before, you got a fresh new page. You're starting new. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Let's make it count. Let's forgive ourselves for anything in the past that we did or didn't do that didn't turn out the way that we would have liked them to be. In other words, if we hold on to any regret, we're cutting off our own legs. Stop it. Just stop it. This has been the season of Lent. Let's give up regret. Let's give up negative thought. Let's pull that weed away. I'm going to share this with you. Some of you took my class a while back from Thomas Chord. And I looked at teaching that class again. It's the Edinburgh Lectures. If you ever have an opportunity to take that class from anybody, sign up for it. Quote, he says, if we regard the fulfillment of our purpose as contingent upon any circumstances, past, present, or future, we are not making use of first cause. We have descended to the level of secondary causation, which is the region of doubts, fears, and limitations, all of which we are impressing upon the universal mind with the inevitable result that it will build up corresponding external conditions. But if we realize that the region of secondary causes is the region of mere reflections, we shall not think of our purpose as contingent upon any conditions, whatever, but shall know that by forming the idea of it in the absolute and maintaining that idea, we have shaped the first cause in the desired form and can await the result with cheerful expectancy. Yes. If you're here right now, I'd ask for an amen. Amen. There you go. Whatever the situation is, whatever the circumstances is, ask yourself, is my God greater than that? If it's not, get a different idea of God. God is greater than that. Surrender to Spirit, guiding you, directioning you, and allowing that renewal of life to come through by means of you. We are here to express that a greater idea of life and love, and Spirit gives us everything necessary to fulfill that. All we need to do is focus our intention. Focus on our intention. I'll say that one more time. Focus on our intention. Universal mind, the law of mind, God, will then take that idea and manifest it in our life. We don't have to do the hard work. To God, it's not hard. We'll let God do that part, okay? Choose what it is that you want to experience, to know, to be, to do, to have. Embody that idea. Know it's coming forth in your life, and allow it to be so. And so it is. Thank you for joining us today.
You don't mind if I kiss the presenter, do you? Thank you so much, Reverend Mike. That was a wonderful, inspiring, uplifting message. And we are green and growing now, aren't we? And speaking of green, It's time for our celebration of abundance. It's called the Prosperity Affirmation, and we're going to share that in just a moment. You see on your screen many ways or several ways that you can support our beloved community and keep our message going out into the world. It needs it, don't you think? And so thank you for finding all the ways and the means to keep us healthy and strong and green and growing. And so however you choose to give, I still am this old-fashioned girl who loves to give a check. Each week, it's a beautiful ritual for me. It gives me an opportunity to remember that every material good and every spiritual good comes directly from the heart of God, which is why I like to hold it to my heart before sharing it. Will you then speak with me, if you wish, our prosperity affirmation? I choose to celebrate prosperity. Divine love blesses my gift. It is my acceptance of God as the source of my abundant supply. With joy and gratitude, I share my abundance with this center. In doing so, I am one with the law of circulation. My tithe goes forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless. It returns to me multiplied abundantly, and I am prospered, and so it is.
Carpe diem, seize the day, the moment's what you make it. Open your heart and your mind, you will find a way. Carpe diem, seize the day, it's your day.
Hi, everybody. My name is Edie Janik. I'm the Board of Trustees president for the Greater Philadelphia Center for Spiritual Living. Happy to be here today with today's announcements. I'm so focused on introducing myself because I always forget to do that. So I'll get it right someday. Hey, Reverend Mike, thank you for that fabulous, fabulous talk. I am just tickled by the fact that God used a two-way radio company to let you know about the Centers for Spiritual Living, which enriched your life from that point forward. But that just tickles me that, like, you know, it's so practical. God said, all right, two-way radio company, that'll get the message across. He'll come, he'll be like, oh, this is great. So very nice. And welcome, everyone. We're so happy you decided to join us this morning for our Sunday celebration. We're always happy you're here, no matter where you are joining us from, whether it be Florida, Arizona, Canada, here in Paoli, Malvern, Berwyn. And again, happy birthday, Peter Funk, and happy birthday, Cheryl Macklin. And if it's your birthday today and I didn't mention your name, I'm sorry. I will tell me, and I'll make sure that I say happy birthday next time. So, in case you missed it, we did have a publication of BotSpot recently. You can find it on our website. You can click the pop-up box and see the most recent communication of the BotSpot, which is really a place for a monthly update on the center if we've received questions during the month, either by email or by regular mail or in conversation that we think might help to address in the BotSpot from a board perspective. You know, what's going on with the center, how are your contributions, you know, being managed financially, what do they go towards, was actually the topic of the last BotSpot. And, you know, what's on our minds, what are our plans, what events are coming up. Of course, we schedule those events in the calendar, but, you know, what are we putting in our soil, let's say? What are we planting for the future? The center is thriving and alive, and even though we don't have a physical location where we're all coming together, we have this lovely Inspiration Cafe to reach out to everyone through live streaming. And we're so happy that you join us on Sundays. We do have classes that are being delivered via Zoom. We have Saturday, fabulous reading through the Science of Mind. I think Dr. Maxine projected it'll take, a century or so to get through the whole thing because of the rich conversation that is generated from the material. I mean, the book is thick, but the way that Reverend Mike guides the group through delving into it and applying, really thinking about what it means and how it applies to our daily lives, is what helps to make it such a long but wonderful journey. So we have lots of things going on, but I think it's kind of like, you know, it's springtime and we can smell the soil, and we know that life is there, but it's like just budding, right? It's just budding. So the center is also alive and well and emerging, kind of in congruence and synchronicity with what's happening here, at least in the northeast part of this country. So if you want to see the BotSpot for yourself, you can go to our website, click on the pop-up box, and happy reading, and you can look forward to a monthly publication of the BotSpot. So if you have questions that you want us to address in that publication, you can go ahead and do so. Send them to, what do we say? Send them to admin. What's the whole address? Admin at CSLphilly.com. Thank you, crew. So if you're watching us and enjoy our Sunday celebrations and love notes on Facebook and YouTube channel, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share with others. When you do so, you'll get notices. When you subscribe, you'll get notices of when those are posted. And again, we will continue to live stream our Sunday celebration every Sunday at 10:30. And you can join us via our website and click the Watch Live button. And as Reverend Mike reminded us today, go have a fulfilling day. It'll lead you to your happiness. Another takeaway from the talk. Have a great day. Dr. Maxine, you're up.
Thank you, President Edie. You are such a delight. Do you know what you did while you were standing up here sharing with everybody so eloquently? You brought spring in. It is now officially spring. Yay! If anybody could do that, it would be Edie. Thank you. Oh, wonderful. Now we're going to have a closing song, and it is by Daniel Nabod and Nemo Feet. It is called Planting Seeds, a Song of Life.
I spent a long time running, I never knew then what I know now. That the fruits, they always come in, but you can't go around just knocking them down. It takes a long time to show in. We plant the seeds then, and we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around.
Whatever grows will grow, whatever dies will die, whatever works will work, whatever flies will fly, whatever fails will fail, what's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds, nothing
It's like your whole life you've been training for this moment, and when the time comes you just disown it, meaning you just surrender, don't control it, not interested in the clay pots and molding, or sitting next to the path trying to unfold it, or waiting for the fruits to fall down toward you. Let it go and now you're flowing, feeling quite gorgeous, so you take steps away instead of towards it. What a rush, feeling freedom with nothing to hold. We've been taught that what you touch will always turn to gold, and now we're learning when we let it go it overflows, with no credit to take, cause no credit is home. A higher power working deeper where the seeds are sowed, and when the seeds are true, then they're seeds of gold. But the real gold is joy when life starts to flow, and when it does, you just smile cause now you know. I spent a long time running, I never knew then what I know now. That the fruits, they always come in, but you can't go around just knocking them down. It takes a long time to show in. We plant the seeds then, and we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around.
Whatever grows will grow, whatever dies will die, whatever works will work, whatever flies will fly, whatever fails will fail, what's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds. Whatever grows will grow.
When it grows, it grows.
Whatever dies will
And when it dies, it dies.
Whatever
Come on.
works will
If
work.
it works, it works.
Whatever flies will
Let it fly, let it
Whatever
fly.
fails will fail.
When it fails, it
What's meant
fails.
to soar will
And
soar.
when it soars, it soars.
I am planting seeds. Whatever grows will grow.
Let it grow, let it
Whatever
grow.
dies will
When
die.
it dies, it dies.
Whatever works will
And when it works, it works.
Whatever flies
Yeah.
will fly.
Let it fly, let it
Whatever
fly.
fails will
When
fail.
it fails, it
What's meant
fails.
to soar will soar.
Come on, let it soar.
I am
I'm planting seeds and nothing more.
when you smile, it just helps someone to know that you're cared about and that you love them.
And so we go forth, knowing that right where we are, God is guiding us and directing us to a greater expression of life. We feel fulfilled, we feel enlightened, we feel uplifted, and we know that we are green and growing. And so it is.